here we go. Let's get it rocking. We got it going, baby. We got it going.
What's going on, guys?
It
How we
is
doing?
the new setup. The new setup here at CrucibleTV. Maybe it's a little different. We might mix it up. It got a little, not boring. It didn't get boring over there, but we mixing it up. We got these nice new couches that we had to put into use. So we wanted to make sure we came over here and got them into good use. So we are ready to rock, and we hope that you are as well.
What's happening, Alien?
Guys, we're about to have a good time today. We're about to have a good time. If you're hopping in, let us know that you're watching, right? Sometimes it's hard for us to tell who's watching, where you're watching from. Let us know. Let us know if you're watching, where you're watching from.
Big
and
mate.
you know what? Maybe drop a little bit of energy, drop a flame emoji, drop a big muscle emoji for Mr. Gun Show over here.
We got a lot of people popping on right now.
Let's
we got
go,
Alien
baby.
coming on. We got Logs, Big Nate.
Man, he's got them young eyes. I can't see that far. So here we go. We are rocking and rolling. And we're always talking about competitive edges, right? We're talking about competitive edges, and we're always looking for that next competitive edge to be able to go beyond what we think is possible, right? We all have these big goals. We have these big dreams. We have these different things that it is that we're wanting to achieve. Some of it's physical. It's on the field. Some of it's financial. I want to have an edge with my finances, right? I want to be able to be prepared for that next level. Something, maybe it's emotional. I want to have that edge so that way when I'm in the right relationship, I know that I'm prepared. I know that I'm ready. So we're always looking for that next edge. But we think we have found an edge that most people don't utilize, right? They don't utilize it. And let's be honest, it gets real easy. It gets real easy to go out there and do more, right? I got this new training program. I've got this new book. I've got this new this. I've got this new that. I got always something new to add to their program. Something new to add to their life. We're always adding until by the end of it, we got this brand new book bag, and it's just full. It's full of stuff that we've got to do. We've got all this stuff that we have to do now. All these edges, right? All this stuff, and it's weighing us down. But I think there's an edge out there that a lot of people know about.
They don't do enough.
They just don't do enough of it. They don't do enough of it. Now, if y'all know, I just got back from San Diego. I've got a lot of friends out in San Diego. I've got some mentors out in San Diego for a second time. It was like my second time in a month that I was out there. And this thought kind of came to me as I was out in San Diego. We were out climbing some mountains. We were out by the beach. And one of the things that I just loved was the ability to slow down. Slow down. Man, how do we do that these days, right?
Yeah, it seems hard to do it just in the hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
Everybody, whether it's especially during this holiday season and things coming up and schools coming up, or we got whether you're your mom and dad with the kids got this soccer game, this baseball game, this game this weekend. I asked a lot of the kids, I asked the parents, I'm like, what are you guys up to this weekend? What are you guys doing? It's like, oh, we got this crazy thing going on, and it gets really hard to just find that moment just to slow down. And I know that's one thing that I struggle with too. I'm very much, I like to compete with myself. I like to get better. I like to go. I like to find ways to get better. But if I'm not doing something, I feel I almost have this moment of like, holy smokes, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I struggle. I can totally relate. If you're somebody watching this and you struggle slowing down, I know what it's like to be in your shoes.
Yeah.
It's
we get caught on that hamster wheel, right? We're on the hamster wheel, and it starts spinning faster, and then all of a sudden we don't know how our legs are even keeping up, right? Like we're moving, we're going, but we don't know how we're keeping up. And I think that's why so many of us get burnt out, right? We're playing sports that maybe we love to play, but we get burnt out, right? And I'm like, I don't even want to go play baseball anymore. I don't want to play softball. If you have a business, I don't even want to go to my business. I don't want to work out today. Like whatever that thing is, we just get so worked up, going, and we never have the opportunity to slow down. We never allow ourselves that blue sky time where we're just allowing ourselves to settle down, slow down, get underneath that blue sky and think and dream, right? And that's exactly the edge that we're talking about. The competitive edge of slowing down, of slowing down. Maybe people call it recovery, right? We're always so quick to add more exercises, add more lifts, add more this. But I think the next new competitive edge out there that you can utilize is that recovery, is that slow down. Because number one, it's going to allow you to refill, right? We do a really good job here at pouring out. We always talk about that, pouring out energy, pouring out physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? There's so many different areas of our life that we have to pour out, right? We have to pour out. A lot of you moms and dads out there are having to pour out to your kids, right? You're having to pour out to your kids, to your relationships, to the business, to the sport, to school, to homework. Like, we've got all these areas that we're pouring out, but we have to have that opportunity to slow down so that way we can refill. Because there's one thing you can't do, is you can't pour out from an empty cup.
It's impossible. You can't do it.
Can't pour out.
And if it is, it's nowhere as near as effective as pouring from a full cup. And why would you not want to, or even from a half full cup? It's easy, you know what I mean? If you're pouring out right now, if you're listening to this and you're empty, you're that empty cup and you're pouring out right now, find a way to fill that cup up. I want you to really take that moment to kind of step back and ask yourself, what fills my cup up? And you're looking for all these different ways to take action right there. And fill that cup right back up.
And so there are certain things, right? You have to figure out, like you said. For me, I love those magical moments with my family. Mm-hmm. I love taking time with my wife and my daughter and going places and doing things and creating experiences. That fills me up. I enjoy going out to the West Coast to meet with my mentors and friends and going on hikes and going to the beach. And we did a cold plunge while we were out there. We jumped in the Pacific and it was ice cold, right? But I loved it. That filled my spirit. That filled me up. So that way, when I came back, I was able to come out and pour out to Jesse, to our clients. And we have to make sure that we have a consistent strategy of pouring out. Just like we have a game plan, what's happening? I see you there, right? Well, you have a strategy with our lifts, with our nutrition, right? We need to have a strategy for our recovery, right? We must do that, okay? So that's step number one. You can't pour out from an empty cup. Find a way, find what fills, like Jesse said, find what fills your cup. Maybe it's vacations. Maybe it is workouts. Maybe that is like your quiet time. Maybe that needs to be part of your routine. It's just that little 30 minutes or an hour every day, and that just fills you up. You can listen to podcasts. You can read books, whatever it is, where you can fill your spirit. Maybe it's that morning devotional time, right? I've got to have my morning devotional time where I'm getting in the Word and I'm filling my spirit back up, because the world loves to beat that up, right? Slow down. Fill that cup up so that way you can fill back out.
Yeah, and right there you said that spiritual piece, right? You talk about, like, you know, what you pour into yourself, you're able to pour out into others.
Yeah.
You know, and if you take that moment to pour into something that's going to help you wrap your brain around making great decisions, that sounds like another competitive edge right there.
That's right. Truth. So there we go. Step number one. Make sure you refill. Use that competitive edge to refill so that way you can pour out. You're not pouring from an empty cup. Step number two, physically, the recovery, the slowdown is actually when we grow, right? That's actually when we get stronger. That's actually when we get better. So often we get caught in this overtraining, right? This mindset, if you're not going, if you're not working out, like that the workout is when you're getting stronger. Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. From a physiological standpoint, the workout, the actual lifting of the weights is when the muscle's breaking down. It's tearing down, right? And we need to make sure that we get that recovery so that we can have it build back up, right? But so often, what do? I got this new exercise. I'm going to try and train twice a day. I'm going to train 3 times a day. I'm going to just keep adding more without adding the recovery. And what happens? What happens when you overtrain? What happens?
There's a lot. You talk about just burnout right there.
Burnout.
One thing you always want to remember if you're playing a sport right now and you're feeling burned out, I want you to take that moment to step back and ask yourself, why do you love playing the game, right? We always talk about taking that step back and recovering right? How can I, take that day, that slow down moment? Ask yourself why you love playing the game. You know what I mean? And right there, we're talking about that burnout. Whether you're physically exhausted, you're mentally exhausted. Just right, we talk about all those different areas, right? If you're overtraining, you're burning out. That's gonna affect your ability to make a great decision, because I know what it's like to overtrain. I'm actually a chronic overtrainer myself from years past, and I probably didn't do the slow it down and have that moment to take and really set up that moment to have that vision enough. Even back when I played, and that could have helped me remember what's important and help me not get caught up in the hustle and bustle sometimes. So yeah, it's if you are overtraining, that's going to affect your decision making. That's going to affect your ability to love the sport that you love so much. It's gonna affect your performance. We always talk about, whether it's making decisions or physically being prepared. If you're overtraining, you're actually doing the exact opposite towards preparing.
Yeah. I mean, when we overtrain physically, you have an increased chance of injury, right? The more that we add, the higher risk of injury, the higher chance that we're going to get injured. We're going to have to do physical therapy, and we're going to be forced to take that time off because we're injured and we're hurt. And then that just drives us crazy, right? We don't want to get to the spot to where our body breaks down and we're forced to take that slow down. There's nothing worse than a forced slow down, because that means something's wrong, right? I want to strategize that slow down for you, right? We want to strategize that, put that into the plan, right? To where it's not just adding more and more activity, but it's the strategic recovery to allow you to actually grow further than where you would if you just kept adding and breaking down. Just because, just like if you keep pouring from a cup, eventually it's going to be empty. If we just keep breaking down muscle, well, we're not actually ever growing and gaining anything. So we need to have that from a physical standpoint. We must make sure we're recovering. There we go. And then step number three, why we want to use this competitive edge of recovery, of this slowdown. Because again, so many people think that that's like the worst thing you can do. You got to rise and grind. You got to do this. You got to do, if you're not
more,
right, more. It's a culture is telling you got to do more. Okay. Now, I think there's certain areas that we can do more of, which is recovery, which is slowdown. Because one of the most important parts of the slowdown, if you slow it down, it's also going to increase your vision. It's going to increase your vision and allow you to be able to see more than what you can. Because if, let's say you're flying down the highway, you're on a roller coaster, and that thing is flying down the first drop. What is the only thing? You can't see anything. You can't read anything. You can't see where you're at. You're disoriented. You're flipping upside down. You're just struggling to hang on. You're hanging on to this roller coaster and it's just flying wherever it wants to fly. You have no vision. You barely can see what's coming up ahead. You're just worried about what's going on in this moment. But if you stop and you take a look, at the roller coaster before you get on it, oh, I can see what curves are coming. I know after this flip, it's gonna start turning. I know that after this turn, it's gonna drop. I know after that drop, it's gonna corkscrew, right? We get the vision. We can start to see things that in the midst of it, it's just throwing us for a loop and we feel like puking. We feel like, all right, we got a headache, we want off the roller coaster, and we're done with it. But if you slow down, it allows you to see where it is, where the bumps might come, where the drops might come, where the climbs are gonna have to happen, and we can execute a plan. We can create a plan and then execute that plan to get to where we want to go. And that's a big thing coming up into 2022, right? It's the end of 2021 basically, right? End of 2021, we're gonna finish strong, but what should we be doing right now? We should be executing this slowdown. So that way we can see where are we going in 2022? What's coming up in 22? We gotta be thinking about that now.
And such a huge thing, we started talking here about competitive edges and how a slowdown is a competitive edge. Well, if you can utilize that slowdown, it's gonna help your biggest competitive edge. In my opinion, one of your most biggest or the biggest is your vision. Having a vision is a huge competitive edge. If you don't have a vision for your friendships and your relationships. You're probably not going to be a great friend, or your friends are going to take advantage of you, or you're just going to have bad relationships and be pretty disgruntled and unhappy. If you don't have a vision for your finances, you might end up going broke. You know, if you don't have a vision for what you want to accomplish in a sports season or as a team, you know, then you're just playing. You know, you're just going out there playing the game, going through the motions. You know what I mean? And we hate checking a box and going through the motions. So that is whatever it is, like whatever area in your life, you put a vision aside it. You put a vision on that area. It's gonna enhance that area. It's gonna give you a competitive edge in that area right there. So
that's right. So there we go. The competitive edge of the slowdown. Why do we want to slow down? When the world tells us to go faster, 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 why are we encouraging you to have a strategic slowdown? One, you got to refill. You can't pour from an empty cup. We all have responsibilities. You have responsibilities. You've got to make sure you're taking care of your family. You got to make sure you're taking care of work. You got to make sure you're taking care of your kids, your relationships, all of those things, taking care of you, right? You must refill if you want to take care of all those things. If you're going to be pouring out energy, you must refill yourself in the slowdown so that way you can pour out to others. Number two, physically, that's when we repair, right? Physically, that's when we repair. If we're constantly going, no sleep, overtraining, doing this, your body's not going to recover. You're not going to be in a physical spot to be able to go. And people that don't have their health, that's all they want, right? When you don't have your physical health, all you want is your health. So make sure you're taking that strategic slowdown so that way you can have your physical health, right? Because when you don't have it, that's all you want, right? Think about just something as simple as seasonal allergies. When you can't breathe, that's all you want to be able to do is breathe at night without having to prop your head up on the pillows, right? That's all you want. Take care of yourself physically. And then number three, that strategic slowdown is going to help increase your vision. We want to increase our vision so we can clearly see what's coming. Where are we headed? Where are we going? Why are we headed there? And then we can start seeing the dips, the dives, the jumps, the climbs that we're going to have to take, make, risk, whatever it is, adapt to. All those challenges, we can be prepared and ready to go. So we're challenging you today to take that strategic slow down. Despite what the world says, rise, grind, this, that might be part of your strategery. I like to say that strategery, your strategic plan, that might be part of it, right? And that's okay. Do it. Get up. Get rocking. I love that. That's part of my plan. I like getting up, getting going, right? But make sure it's strategic and that you're having that opportunity to make sure that you're refilling as well.
Can I ask a question, Coach?
Ask away.
Do you have a moment every day where you take time to slow down?
Every day. Every day. And it's a lot of times at the beginning of my day, right? Because I want to make sure I have a vision for what I'm going to accomplish every day. I try not to just jump up and get going because then I'm reacting to the day. Whatever the day has for me, I'm just reacting to it. So I would try to make sure that every single morning I'm starting off with a very specific plan of me in my devotional, me reading my Bible, making sure I'm spiritually right, doing all those things. So that way, despite whatever comes, I know my vision. I know where I'm going, and I can be ready to go when those challenges come. So good question, Jesse. I like that. So guys, that is it. We are hopping off. Amelia, I see popping on. Holden, Ailey, man, everybody. Kevin, I see y'all on here. I appreciate y'all hopping on. Amelia, I appreciate you hopping on. And guys, that is it. If you're just hopping on, be sure to go back, rewatch this, because this was a good one. It's going to make your head think. So, guys, we love you. We will see you next Friday, 1 o'clock, for another episode of Crucible TV. Love you, Ailey. Get it, baby. We'll see y'all. Have a good one.